Hi, I'm Karen. I live in the Ruapehu district. 3 years ago, I was interviewed by GridFree. Welcome back. A lot has changed in the last 3 years. I'm now living in a 2-bedroom off-grid house. I was living in a small sleepout with a caravan next door, and now I'm living in a new build house that happens to be off-grid. I was desperate to move into a normal house with an inside kitchen and an inside bathroom, and it's just so much easier with a young child having this set up. In winter it gets so cold here that I was just over having to go outside to get my first cup of tea in the mornings and go to the toilet first things in the mornings, and there'd be a heavy frost and you'd have to put on your puffer jacket, and then your child would be calling for you, and it's just so much easier in a house where you don't have to step outside on those really cold mornings. During the last 3 years, I have separated from my partner, and so it's just my young child and I living in the house, and my brother lives part-time on the land. So the house is a little bit different from the last time you were here.
Yeah, I remember when I was here last time, it was just a floor, no walls, no nothing. How are you finding it now?
Oh, it's amazing. I love it so much. We've got 2 bedrooms and this huge space, inside bathroom, and the solar cupboard is inside too.
I love these big windows,
Yeah, the initial plan was for smaller windows, but I just changed the plan and I'm so pleased I did that. Yep.
Yeah, because if you use the sun to warm the house, you need to use the fireplace a little less.
I know. Yeah? I find the fire is used more in the mornings when there's a heavy frost, and then if there's been a sunny day, then the house is warm just from the sun.
Yeah. And I like the fact that it's one big open space. So you got the kitchen and the dining room and the lounge all in one open space.
Yes, the whole idea was around my child, because at that point when I designed the place, he was quite clingy.
Yeah.
The advice I would tell Karen from 3 years ago is having a child in a house with an internal kitchen and a bathroom makes a world of difference. In the old setup, if I needed to cook dinner when it was too cold to be outside, I would need someone to look after my child. But in this setup, he can be playing while I'm cooking dinner. It's so much easier. I guess my tips for off-grid living, part of it would be go bigger than you expect. So more solar panels or more batteries and a bigger water tank. It's better to have more water than not enough water. When I first bought this land, the initial idea had been this would just be the base and I'd be caravanning around. And I was just desperate to have a home base at that point, somewhere to store stuff, somewhere that if another lockdown happened, I could go somewhere secure. But then once I had my child and settled in, that kind of went out the window, and I've been living here all year round with the odd caravan weekend trips. So a little bit different from the initial plan. At the moment, if I'm completely honest, I find caravanning on my own as a solo mum with an active young child is tiring. It's more tiring than I expected. So give it a couple more years and I think caravanning with my child will be exciting again. And you can't just send your kid off to explore the campground when they're too young. They want you there. So the chance of just probably resting is pretty nil. But another mum told me they reach a certain age and then they want to befriend the other kids at the playground, and you're at the sweet spot.
So did you design this house yourself?
I did. Designing my own home was actually one of my dreams. So it's just been amazing to do that. So I designed it and then gave it to a draftsman to do the official document to pass on to the council.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
And the draftsman then give instructions on how to go about building it?
Yes, he passed on things like we needed this big beam in the living room to keep the house up. Yep. And just the structural things like that.
Wow. How much of an upgrade is this compared to that little cabin you were in before?
It's amazing, and it's so much warmer. Before, if it was a cold morning, I really knew it was cold. But in this house, sometimes I'd wake up and look out the window and realize, oh, there's a heavy frost and I hadn't realised.
Oh, right. And is that because it's got really high insulation, double glazing and all those things?
I think that, and also the space, maybe it is warm at night and it keeps the heat all night.
Yeah. How was the process with the council through the whole thing? Was it painful?
I've found them actually amazing, and I think part of it is being a small town. I've heard horror stories from a friend going through Auckland where we'd started building and she was still trying to get the plans through Auckland.
Gosh.
So I think there was a massive plus with building in a smaller community.
Yeah, and so it's all signed off and done now?
All done.
Ah, fantastic.
It's huge relief. This area has quite a lot of non-consented buildings, so there is a bit of alternative lifestyle here. I decided to build the house through the council because I wanted that financial security. The house would be worth more if it was signed off through the council, and if you're going to spend a lot of money building a house, it seemed sensible to think about how to protect that investment in a way. I support myself in a couple of ways. I'm a graphic designer and I work from home, so I just use my laptop and I have the internet. And I'm also a YouTuber and I have a channel called Travelling K, which talks about this lifestyle. When I was first looking for land, I approached about getting a mortgage and was told being a graphic designer and YouTuber was not good enough and I should work at a supermarket for a couple of years. The bank seems to want 50% deposit compared to 20% if you bought a house. So I ended up getting a loan from my mum for half the land and then accessing KiwiSaver. And then I got a personal finance from the bank at a very steep monthly fee. Me and my partner at the time paid the rest. Living off grid is actually really affordable. I think the biggest plus with going solar has been no monthly bills. When I was pricing up the power options, I contacted the power company and got a quote for connecting to the grid from here, and it was going to be $50,000. And the kit I've got is $24,000 and no monthly bills. So it just seemed a logical step. At the moment, my bills are the rates, insurance on the house, insurance on the car and the caravan. So the rates and the insurance on the house is around $400 a month. And then the gas bottle is probably around $80 a month. No power bills. All up, this house cost around $300,000. The land 5 years ago was $90,000. I feel like I got lucky getting in there with the land cost because it's over double that now. And then later down the track, unfortunately, both my parents passed away, but that did enable me to build this house. The thought of buying bare land appealed to me because I am quite creative, so the concept of starting from scratch and building something myself really appealed to me. And I actually love gardening, so I've loved picking the trees and the plants to put in myself and watch grow. It's very satisfying. I've been living off grid on this land for 5 years now, and there's been ups and downs with the solar side. I think originally we had the batch kit and the batteries were damaged, so winters were quite challenging. We kept having to put a generator on and monitor quite heavily. But now I'm on the TUI kit with lithium batteries. It's life-changing. I don't even check anymore. Once in a while, out of curiosity, I'll look at how the batteries are doing, and even on a horrible overcast day, it's sitting in 80% range. And it's amazing. The best kit so far. I'm actually quite a loyal GridFree customer. This will be the 4th kit that we've got through GridFree. So this is where I've ground mounted the solar panels.
Nice. Good idea to put them on the ground, eh?
Oh, it's so much easier. The initial plan was to put them on the roof, but when it came to the stage of actually installing them, I didn't really want to be clambering up there on the roof, and I couldn't visualize getting up there to check and clean them myself, so it just seemed so much easier to install them there. So I got my neighbour to help with the base, then we used the GridFree mounts, and him and I installed the panels. Then I got the tui nest package in the house. I just followed the GridFree instructions up to the part where it said get an electrician, and he did the last bit for me, and then we got his advice on how to put the cables underground.
Nice. It's always good if you can do that sort of labour work and putting the panels in yourself, right?
Yes.
And save some money,
Yes.
and bring the electrician in to do the
harder part.
Yeah, the more difficult part.
Yes.
Good work. And you put it inside, you put the solar nest inside, and the reason for that?
I wanted to be able to check what was happening with the system on a cold night.
Yeah.
And I also wanted it safe away from rats or mice or other animals.
Yeah, it's a good idea. And it's close to the panel, so it works really well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Plus this place does get cold in winter, so I didn't want to risk accidentally damaging the system if it gets too cold.
Yeah, good move. So you were on the batch kit at the old place, and now you got the Tui solar nest. How are you finding the difference?
Oh, the Tui solar nest is amazing. I don't have to think about power as much at all. So if there's like 3 solid days of overcast weather, I might think, oh, I should check how the batteries are going, compared to the batch kit where I was needing to check morning and night and keeping an eye on my power usage.
Yeah, different batteries, eh?
Oh
Different.
yes, I'm such a fan of lithium batteries and just getting a big system so you don't have to stress so much.
Yeah.
The things I love about this place are the 2 windows looking out at the farmland. I just love that view. I love the nature here, the native ducks, the hawks. Just being surrounded by nature is wonderful. What I love about this lifestyle is having 1 hectare of land to play around with. Plant the big trees that you couldn't do in town. Have 3 different types of apples and 3 different types of plum trees growing. And having my son experience nature, splashing in the muddy puddle and feeding a worm he found to the chickens. Buying and developing this property has changed me from a footloose solo female traveling around in a caravan to putting down roots, and off-grid living to me now is luxury in a way. It's easy.